Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kelly. I would love for you to join the family. I am making book content and just like other like lifestyle things. I also want to do like vlogs still, and even like still like makeup videos, just like everything. I don't know, I don't want to like set myself just to one thing because I don't know, this channel is just a variety. So if you want to join the family, please hit that subscribe button down below. Today's video is going to be a summer book recommendations video, and then I also have a couple books on my summer TBR. I have a couple, not a lot, because I feel like I don't have a lot of summer books. Like, I feel like the majority of my books are like, I don't know, it's weird to explain. But I'm going to be talking about some books that I recommend you guys to read this summer, and then some books that are on my TBR. I gotta move this stack closer to me. I also just filmed this video before and I didn't like the way that it turned out, so we're redoing it. Alright, so the first series that I'm recommending is the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. I've only read the first book so far, which is Flawless. There are 3 books in the series so far. The 4th one I believe comes out next month. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's June that it comes out. But I don't know, something about small town romances give me summer vibes. Some people might not agree with me, but I think they do. So Flawless is about Summer and Rhett. Rhett is a professional bull rider, and Summer basically becomes like his babysitter. He ends up getting in like this scandal, and she's basically there to like help him like get out of it and like boost his status up more, since like the scandal kind of brought it down a little bit. The scandal was kind of like, to me it was like, why is this such a big deal? But I honestly thought it was pretty funny. It was just like kind of weird, but I loved this book. And the second book is Heartless, which follows Summer's best friend Willa and Rhett's brother Cade. So this book is age gap, I'm pretty sure, and single dad. I'm pretty sure she ends up babysitting his son and like goes from there. I'm very excited to read this one. I've heard that this book is everybody's favorite, so this book is definitely on my summer TBR. And then the third book I need to buy, which is called Powerless. I forget who that book revolves around, but I think it's a hockey romance. And yeah, I don't know, these books just scream summer to me. Can we talk about how beautiful the covers are? And the 4th book comes out, like I said, I think in June. I think it's called Reckless. So I need to buy those books ASAP to add them to my collection, because I loved the first one, so I feel like I'm gonna love all of the books in the series. And yeah. Next we have some more small town romances. We have Things We Never Got Over and Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. So Things We Never Got Over is Naomi and Knox. So Naomi basically is getting married, but she ends up getting this call from her sister saying that she needs help. So she goes all the way to this small town, and when she gets there, her sister is gone. Not only that, but her sister leaves her child. So she basically has to stay in this small town and raise her kid for her, and a bunch of stuff happens. And she ends up meeting Knox, who at first, Knox is very mean to her because he thinks that Naomi is her sister. And it's kind of enemies to lover, kind of like dislike to lovers, but I absolutely ate this book up. I loved it so much. Oh, it was just such a beautiful story, and I'm usually not a fan of kids in books, but Waylay was just hilarious, and I loved what she added to this story. And then you have Things We Hide from the Light, which follows Knox's brother Nash and Lena, which you'll find out who Lena is in Things We Never Got Over. I did not love this book as much as I loved this one. And can we talk about, as soon as I bought this book, they came out and got published by Bloom, so they're different. I need to buy the Bloom one also, because this book is also like damaged, so it gives me an excuse to buy the same book that I already have. I need them to match. Anyways, that's not the point of this video. But I didn't love this book as much as I loved Things We Never Got Over, just because they felt very similar to me. Like, I felt like this was a carbon copy of Things We Never Got Over. The plot just, and even the ending just felt like very similar to me. I still loved it. I think I gave it like 4 stars. I gave this one 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. And the beginning was kind of slow. But other than that, I really did love this book. And I think the third book is going to be my favorite. It's called Things We Leave Behind or something like that. It follows, oh my god, I forget his name already. It follows two other characters in both of these books, which I adore. I think Lucian is his name. Lucian, and I'm forgetting the girl's name. But they added such, I'm forgetting the word that I want to use, but they added so much to these books, and I'm so happy that they're getting their own book, and I cannot wait to read that one when it comes out. I feel like it's definitely going to be my favorite, but it's also going to be hard to top this one because I loved it so much. So now I have some Christina Lauren books. This is the book that got me into reading The UN Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. So this book follows Olive and Ethan. Olive's sister is getting married. Well, she gets married. And she ends up getting sick at her wedding. And they plan like this whole honeymoon, her and her husband. And they end up not being able to go. So her sister tells Olive that her and Ethan have to go. So they basically go on this honeymoon. And they have to pretend to be married. And it's just so funny. This book had me laughing and kicking my feet. It was just so cute. The ending kind of lost me a little bit, but I feel like I have such an attachment to this book because it got me into reading. I loved it. Then we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book follows, this is like a second chance romance. So this follows Macy and Elliot, and they like fall in love as kids, and then something ends up happening and they reunite like several years later, and you basically like find out what happened between them, and it's second chance, and it's beautiful. The ending had me sobbing my eyes out. It was so good. People also recommend, if you love this book, to read Every Summer After. I hated that book, but if you want to give it a shot, go for it. A lot of people actually really love that book, but I just could not forgive the ending. It was just unforgivable for me. But please read this book first. Read this book before you read Every Summer After, because it's so much better. Then we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book screams summer to me. If I had to pick one of these books besides the UN Honeymooners, Malibu Rising would definitely fit like this summer book. So you basically, it takes place in the 80s, and they have like this big summer party, and things just get out of control, and it follows like all of these siblings, and it is such a beautiful story. I loved every second of this book, and I wish this book was longer. Like when it ended, I'm like, I need more. I needed more from this. But I gave it 5 stars because I absolutely adored it. Then we have this cute little duet, Happened One Summer, and Hook, Line, and Sinker. So this follows Piper and Brendan. Piper is basically like spoiled, I would say. Yeah, she's definitely spoiled. She ends up getting herself into trouble. She ends up getting arrested, and her dad picks her up, and he's like, you know what, I had enough. So he sends her to this small town where he grew up, and she basically has to like fend for herself, and like it was beautiful. I loved this. The spice, immaculate. Brendan was such a good book boyfriend. He definitely grumpy sunshine. Spice, like I said, was amazing. Piper is Alexis from Schitt's Creek. And I won't take any criticism on that. I'm correct. It also says it on the back. A Schitt's Creek inspired rom-com. Then you have Hook, Line, and Sinker, which follows Piper's sister Hannah and Brendan's best friend Fox. I love this book so much more than Hook, Line, and Sinker. I loved them both, but this one is definitely my favorite. The best friends to lovers. And these books also scream summer to me. The only thing I did not like about them is that they're third person, but I got over that pretty quickly because I was loving the story of both of these books. Then we have Emily Henry, which screams summer. Screams summer to me. So we have Book Lovers, which I gave this book 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but this book follows Charlie and Nora. Nora is an agent and Charlie is a book editor, and she ends up asking Charlie to edit this book for her because she thinks it's going to be like a really good book, and he ends up saying no, and you just follow that story, and I loved this book. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite Emily Henry book, but I tabbed the heck out of it. I still really enjoyed it. I just ended up getting like a little bit bored, and I didn't feel that much chemistry for the characters. I did more towards the end, but like in the beginning I was just kind of like, I'm not feeling it. It was still a cute story, and I loved it. I feel like Emily Henry can do no wrong. Then we have my favorite Emily Henry book. This book can never be topped. Beach Read. Oh, so beautiful. Please read this book. If I had to pick one book to recommend from all of these, it would be Beach Read. So this follows January and Gus, and they are both book writers. And they're both kind of in like the slump, so they switch genres. She does like more romance, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I read this like a year or so ago. So I need to reread this summer. And then Gus is more like sci-fi, I'm pretty sure. So they end up switching book genres, and they take each other on like these adventures to get them like more in the headspace of writing in these different book genres, and you just go from there. And it's so beautiful, and their love is just absolutely everything to me. I was rooting for them the whole time, and oh, I need to reread this and tab this because definitely my favorite book of all time, and I stand by that. Then we have the most recent Emily Henry release, which is Happy Place. I'm not going to go too into depth with this because it'll be in my May wrap up. But this book also screams summer to me. So this follows Win and Harriet. They are engaged. Something ends up happening and they end up breaking off their marriage. And they're in like a group of friends together. And every summer their group of friends goes to this beach house and they have to go one last time. And they have to pretend that they are still engaged. This book is so much more than a romance. This book follows like friendships, and like not everything lasts forever, and like people can grow apart and just stuff like that. And it was so beautiful. I'm gonna insert a picture of me crying because I sobbed. Please read this book. I've also heard a lot of mixed reviews on this book. People have either loved it or hated it. I loved it. Nothing's ever gonna top Beach Read, but it was pretty damn close. This book had me in my feels, and I was like, is this book written about me? Because it was so relatable, and I loved it. Although there was something about the ending I'll talk about more in my reading wrap up that kind of like annoyed me a little bit, but other than that, I loved it so much. So those are all the books that I recommend that you read for the summertime. Now I have a couple of books on my summer TBR. The first one is Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Sarah Caroli put this in her summer and like spring recommendations video, so I'm like, you know what? I'll add it to my summer TBR. So this book follows, I don't know her, yeah, Carrie Soto is her name. I had to think about her name for a second. Oh my goodness. It's on the title. Carrie Soto. And she is a professional tennis player, I'm pretty sure, and she ends up retiring, but then there's this girl who is about to beat her tennis score, and she's like, nope, 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 nope. She's not gonna take that away from me, so she comes out of retirement to basically make sure this girl does not beat her score. That's basically what I know from this book, and I'm very excited to read it because Taylor Jenkins Reid is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. Right now I'm reading When True Love's by her, and I'm loving it, so I'm very excited to read this book. Next I have The Summer I Turned Pretty. I feel like I'm the last person to read this. I haven't read it yet. I only have the first one because I've been trying to stop myself from buying every single book before I read the first one. But this book is a love triangle, I'm pretty sure. It follows Belly, and then there's also two boys, I think they're brothers, Conrad and Jeremiah. And I think this book like follows them like throughout different summers, if I'm correct. Like you get glimpses of her when she's younger, I think, and then it goes like to when she's older. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, I haven't read it yet. But I've heard such good things about this trilogy, there we go, and I'm very excited to read it. I feel like this is like my #1 priority, is to read this series for summertime. Then we have The Layover by Lacey Waldron. I'm not really sure what this book is about. I think it's enemies to lovers, like her former pilot and current enemy, gorgeous but infuriatingly cocky Jack Stone, is on the same trip as her, and he flirts with her. I don't know. But look at the cover. I saw this cover, like I bought it last year sometime, and it screams summer to me, and I just didn't get to it in time for summer, so I was like, you know what? We'll read it next year. So I'm excited to read this. And it's also very short, so I feel like it'll be like a very fast summer read. Then we have In a Jam by Kate Canterbury. I feel like this book is more like spring than summer vibes to me. But like In a Jam, I don't know. I'm gonna read it in the summertime regardless. I'm not really too sure what this is about. I'm pretty sure it's Second Chance. Yeah. Okay, so it's Marriage of Convenience. And yes, I think it's also Second Chance. I'm very excited to read this. I've heard good things. I've actually heard really good things about this book. It's just very long. I don't know. I feel like romance books, if they're not part of a series, I feel like they shouldn't be over like 300 pages. This book is like 500 pages. So I'm kind of intimidated by this because I feel like if romances books are too long, they get like kind of boring. So I hope that doesn't happen with this book. But like I said, I've heard good things and I'm really excited. So those are all the books that I physically have for my summer TBR. I have some books written down that I want to pick up or like even like read on my Kindle. I feel like my Kindle is going to be my best friend this summer because it's so lightweight and it's so easy to take like everywhere instead of taking a bunch of books with me. So yeah, I made a list. Let's go through them really quick. I'm not going to talk too much about these books because I don't really know what they're about. I've just been like watching like TikToks where people have shown like summer books, and even like ones I've seen last year that people really loved, I just added to a list. So maybe we'll do like a shopping video sometime soon of me going to like Barnes or Target and picking out summer books to read for a week or something like that. So the first book I have here is The Summer of Broken Rules. I've heard a lot of good things about this book. Then we have the only Emily Henry book I haven't read yet, which is People We Meet on Vacation. I was going to buy this book last year actually because me and Bethany went to Seaside for a day. And I was like, you know what, I should buy like a book to read. And I was gonna buy that one, you know, to read there. And I ended up reading a different book. I think I was reading The Deal at that time, which is a hockey romance to make it make sense. I don't know. So I didn't buy that one. And then by the end, like when I actually wanted to pick it up, summer was basically over. So I'm like, you know what? We will buy it for next summer. I'm going to be reading it this summer. Mark my words. Then we have One Italian Summer. I've also heard really good things. Every time I go to Target, I see this book and I'm always super tempted to buy it. And then I'm like, it's not summer yet. So I would have to wait until summer anyways to read it. So I didn't pick it up yet. Then we have Alex Approximately, which I'm pretty sure is a YA romance. I've heard mixed reviews about that one, but I really want to read it because I think it's like a pen pal romance. Then we have The Roughest Draft, which I've seen The Roughest Draft being compared to Book Lovers. I've heard people say it's better than Book Lovers. I've heard people say that it's not. I want to read it. Then we have Love and Gelato, which I'm also pretty positive is a YA. And I've heard people like say they really love it for the summertime. So I want to read that one as well. Then we have The Infinity Between Us. I'm pretty sure it's by N.F. Perkins. I'll have all the pictures of the book on the screen for you guys. And then Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I've also heard that one is like a summary book. I've been trying to get through my Colleen Hoover books that I physically own though. Even though something about Colleen Hoover, I was really into her when I first started reading. Her books are good. Just like some of them, I'm like indifferent towards. Weird to explain. But those for now are all of my books that I want to read this summer. I've also heard Ellen Hilderbrand's books are good for summer, so maybe I'll check some of those out. But yeah, those are all of the books that are on my summer TBR. I feel like a lot of books that I want to read right now are books that I'm like into right now in a series that aren't really like summery related, which is why I didn't really talk about them. And fantasy. I've been in my romantasy era and I'm loving every second of it. So yeah, let me know any other summer book recommendations that you have for me and I'll definitely check them out. Like I said, I kind of do want to make like a reading summer books for a week video, or even like me going to like Barnes or Target in the future and picking out some more summer books to read. I definitely want to go buy the rest of the Summer I Turned Pretty, the other two books, really soon to read those because I feel like I want to read those in June sometime or even like July. But yeah, that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a huge thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below any videos you want to see. Leave me any book recommendations that you have that you've loved that you want me to read, because I'm always down for some more book recommendations, even though I have a whole shelf of, not a whole shelf, but books that I haven't read yet on there as well. But I love you all so much and I will see you guys really soon in my next video. Bye!